So I'm talking today about an uncommon divorce. I was sitting across the dining room table from my soon-to-be ex-husband, and he's demanding that I give up his name. When we decided to get divorced, the first thing we did, it was a mutual decision, the first thing we did was we lied down in the cuddled position, we created our separation agreement, and one of the things I brought up was my name, or the name, Thrasher. He's the one that gave it to me. And I got married to him soon after I came to Toronto from Montreal, and because the majority of my network knew me as Thrasher, I wanted to keep Thrasher at least for professional purposes, and he aligned. So this particular day, he had come home, we were still living together at this point, and he's demanding that I give up my name. And it's funny that I say my name because that's really how it felt like to me. Thrasher is my name. I give up the name Thrasher. And I could feel myself getting triggered, is a good way to say that. And all I wanted to do was put my hands around his neck and say, but we talked about this. We did this in the cuddle position so that when we had the outside influences, we would already have a place to stand. And like all this is going through my head. And then a little voice says to me, Mimi, be the peace that you want to see in the world. Be the peace you want to see in the world. Be the peace you want to see in the world. And the emotion is building and building. When I was 14, I became present to the atrocities of the Second World War. And I decided I was going to be a stand for peace. And as an adult, what I distinguished was that peace is not all countries not warring, because you can't walk onto a battlefield and say, okay, guys, stop fighting. But if you think about it, it's the world leaders that didn't have peace in their heart that causes wars. Whether it was Adolf Hitler, whether it's Trump, whether it's any other world leader, it's them that are causing the wars. And I went, oh, well, if it's the leaders, well, what about if that's country to country, corporation to corporation, it would be the CEOs that don't have peace in their hearts, that are causing mudslinging and fighting against each other. And then I looked at gangs, and I looked at husband to wife, and then I looked at children on the playground, bullies. Do you know, and it all came down to peace in the heart. And I discovered, or I came to realize, that if children on the playground learned how to communicate with each other, we would have peace in 50 years. If the child that's bullying gets the support that he needs to stop bullying, and the child who's being bullied learns how to diffuse a conversation, then that way of communication that they're learning on the playground gets altered, then we would have peace in 50 years from now. So I distinguished peace was in the heart. Getting back to the kitchen table and Alan and my conversation about being the peace you want to see in the world, I say, okay, self, be the peace you want to see in the world. And this cauldron of emotion is here of just wanting to shake him and shake him and shake him. I can remember it like it was yesterday. I almost didn't know how to be peaceful, because looking into his eyes and hearing what he has to say and glazing over was not being peaceful. That was just letting somebody talk. And then I had a moment where I was thinking about a trip I had to the dentist 3 years prior. Dentist and divorce, both D's and both painful, right? I was lying at the dentist 3 years previous with what seemed like 1,000 tools in my mouth and no self-expression, waiting for the dentist to hit a nerve with that needle. And I was so tense and so on guard. And it's the way I was every time I went to the dentist. I just happened to notice it this time because I could feel the tenseness in my heart. I hadn't been that tense in a really long time. And I said to myself, self, you could relax. And I went, really? I could relax? And I went, yeah, you can relax. And I took a big, deep breath with these 1,000 tools in my mouth, and I actually felt myself relax. Now, the tension fought to come back because your brain is only on fight or flight and on wanting to protect you. So it comes back. So it takes something to keep choosing relaxation, keep choosing relaxation. But I did. So now I'm back at the dining room table with my soon-to-be ex, Alan. And I take a deep breath. I take a deep breath, and for the first time in that 10-minute conversation we were going back and forth, I actually hear what he had to say and his concerns. And I looked him in the eye and I said, Alan, I understand how you feel, but this is the first time that you're bringing this up to me, so I need some time to digest it and be with it and consider your request. Can you give me some time? And he said, yes, and that was the end of the conversation. My jaw almost fell on the floor. I didn't think it was going to be so easy. What's really great is I still have the name Thrasher. And he still asks me to give it up, especially now that he's married and there's another Mrs. Thrasher in the picture. And just about a year ago, I started dating again. And I went, oh my God, how weird is that I still have my married name and I'm going to start dating. Like, the guy's going to think I'm wacko. I meet this fantastic guy, and I'm thinking, okay, I got to give up the name. And so we meet, and one of the first things I say to him on our first date is, I'm just about to start the process to give up my name. And he says, oh, don't do that. You should keep it for public and professional purposes. And I'm thinking, oh my God, the skies opened up and the angels are singing. Woo! Doesn't get better. What I learned through all this is that peace is not a peaceful process. But it's possible. It is possible. And it's a practice. And now, even when I'm tense, in whatever the situation is, I take that deep breath and I keep remembering what that's like. And I, in that moment, got to stand not just for peace, but I got to stand for myself as a woman. Thank you.